Greetings, and welcome to this evening's stream. I am your host, Lilim Nightshade, and the QC crew apparently has a 10-stream streak. Thank you for your dedication. Also, greetings to Beyond. This will be, as the stream title suggests, my final stream for the year, as next Thursday is Christmas, and obviously will not be streaming on that day. And then that would be the final Thursday of December, and thus the year. So, at my normal pace, I'll probably get another 2 maps down, I expect, unless I run into some difficulties. Obviously, the later you get into a strategy RPG, the longer battles are expected to be, so they could drag out longer, and I might get through less progress at the end of the game. But I believe I'm about 2/3 of the way through the main campaign, give or take. Actually, I'm probably exactly 2/3. Good evening, Caesar. I cannot say that I'm a pet person. Sounds like a lot to manage and deal with. Would that count? But that might be more of my servant than my pet. I do not mind having servants, but pets can be a bother. Because you actually get something out of a servant. Just caught a familiar. Granted, the mage is Cersei, so I would think she would be more the one to have a familiar. At any rate, let me start up the game so that we can get working on that progress since I have limited time. Dean and Finn have familiars. I did not say that they cannot. I just said that is something that is more commonly associated with mages. Yeah, I never said that there were. Which you can interrogate on the weekend. So we are going to be investigating a doctor. This may be the first time we moved to a location like that. That was not a battle. That's not to say there is no battle, but it is abnormal to just move to a location and it's just set up like a regular town and not immediately throwing you into a fight. Usually you see a map in that one of the background images. See, this is a very stupid question. Because if he was working with a terrorist group, he would not admit it. So why would you ask him in such a direct manner? It seems like the worst way to approach this situation. I would have tried to ask questions that sort of get at the point without being obvious. Maybe asking about his activities or other certain things to try to get it out of him without being direct and overt. But apparently we are terrible at finding out the truth. And these people are terrible at their jobs. Is Castlevania on the list for the awards ceremony? What Castlevania games have been streamed this year, Caesar? Perhaps the most intelligent member of the group with this comment here. They are glazing him a bit too much, would suggest that they are hiding something. I do agree with that logic. Her brother, on the other hand, does not. See, here's the thing. Both of those things can be true at the same time. The people can be hiding something, and the doctor can be a good person. Those are not mutually exclusive ideas. Everyone is hiding something. At some point in time, sure. Everyone has their secrets that they keep. Now, of course, we could not go into a mission without fight, so the terrorist group shows up at our, well, not our front door, since we do not own this tent necessarily, but they show up to where we are. How can you tell if someone is lying? There are many ways. Some not necessarily as reliable as others. In actuality, there's no way to tell for certain. But a lot of times, you can figure it out with reasonable certainty. But you can catch someone in a lie if their stories change a lot, or contradict itself, or other things that just do not add up and do not make sense for what they said to be possible. Some people also have tells that when they lie, they make certain facial expressions or motions that can give it away. But that is not always reliable, because some people, when they make nervous tics, are just genuinely nervous people and could be telling the truth and still make those nervous movements. So that is not the best way to tell. But if you can break down the story and find the logical inconsistency, then you can find the lie. Which is the entire premise, in a sense, of the Ace Attorney games. You cross-examine a witness, find out what in their testimony makes no sense or contradicts the evidence, and then you basically present that. See, the way they present this makes it seem like that Natalie is gonna be in the front here and all your units are gonna sneak behind them. But that is not the case. Natalie does not actually exist in the battle. This just means you cannot deploy her because for some reason she just sort of is cutscene only because she's holding their attention and just removes her from the battle deployment. And you only get the one that sneak attack the enemy. She is never in the battle from what I recall. But this basically answered the question. They suspected that Brown was helping a terrorist, and that rumor sprung from the fact that he actually pretended to cooperate with them. He had his reasons. He actually double-crossed a terrorist, but from an outside perspective, it did look like he was working with them, and that's why they were suspicious of him. But he was not truly on their side. He was just pretending to be on their side. And this is the cover-up that his patients are playing. Because they know this information as well, but they cannot tell you that because that would make him look too suspicious and random army people they never met before may not believe the story that he was only pretending to work with them. So they just want to cut off all ties. Any rate, this is a very limited map. I can only deploy 5 of my units, so I have to choose wisely. When I have to use my 2 raised units for sure. Maybe like this. I wonder what would happen if Paul was not deployed. If someone else would have a quote, would it be the same line? Because I have him just around me, the one that says that line. At any rate, despite the fact you only have 5 units, which makes it seem like it'd be hard to do anything, this is actually a very easy battle. And you will see why pretty sure that like I said, Nellie is not deployed, even though she is supposed to be out here talking to them. Apparently she's just yelling from inside the tent. And not inside her Wanzer. Oh, Wanzer, or however you pronounce it. But at any rate, you will see pretty quickly why this is an easy battle. So first I will disable the weapons, as usual. Or my best range attack will miss entirely. That's always good news. At the tech pier, apparently. Retreat, sis. Okay, for some reason, that particular commander did not want to be hit by anything. Let's see if the main character can hit him. It's a little bit damage. Now, as you see, he flees. They all flee except the ones that are close enough to attack you. which makes this a very easy battle. Because we're not dealing with very many units at once. Maybe 2 to 3. But half of the units just run away. For you to pick them off later. Of course, Tunnel is not looking very good. They have Happy Meal toys for mechs. No idea what that is supposed to mean. They did plastic, cheap and mass-produced. They probably are mass-produced. Given how many there are and how many interchangeable parts are a part of the whole structure. See, some of them waste their turns, too. If you see that enemy just ended his turn, he didn't even flee. He just stood there. And there are some enemies in this battle that even if you damage all of their armament so they cannot attack you, they still move toward you. They're programmed to move in a certain direction, no matter what. It is very strange. I feel like there's something hidden on this map somewhere, but I do not remember where. So I'll have to search for that before completing the mission. I'll leave that one alone for now because it cannot do anything. Nick, he pretty much tanked all of those units himself. Okay, that was a especially stupid move. Because this unit could have attacked Ryuji, except a unit that cannot attack blocked access on that point. That made no sense. I'm guessing this is supposed to just simulate the fact that since they are just random terrorists, they have no battle strategy, so their AI is coded to be far worse than what you'd expect from when you're fighting the military. I do not know if that is actually what they were going for and why it happens that way, but that's my best guess. It seems to make the most sense that that is what they are doing. Otherwise, I have no idea. I used the wrong weapon, and that was a mistake. I was not paying attention. I meant to pick the one that would have actually destroyed that gun. Chill. Need to have him move. Just attack. Chess AI is a lot different though, Beyond. The way chess bots work is that they basically play perfect moves, every single move, and then randomly will just blunder to simulate, to make it beatable, essentially. They do not know how to actually replicate human play, so the best they can do is just make whatever the engine suggested move is for every turn, and then there's like a random chance that it will just completely make a bad move on purpose, so that you can take advantage of that. This one has nothing either. And this one, if it was smart, that I'm targeting right now, could have come after these two units over here, but it is still waiting for its chance to attack Ryuji, even though it cannot reach him. So it's definitely not the way the AI normally behaves. It's only this one battle I've seen it do these kind of tactics, or lack thereof. Achieve the highest level in one piloting statistic? I don't recall doing that. Oh, never mind. I apparently have max short. Was not aware of that. Unfortunately, that is useless on him because he only has 2 skills he can get under the short. So leveling that he's not getting him anything else since he cannot get the, what's it called? Duel? To aim at a specific location. But I do need to work on his long range experience so that he can at least get guide, because I think that is something he can learn. I hope. Actually, at this point, there's no reason to use for long-range attacks. The units cannot fight back. Even Pee-wee could fight them at this point. Not that Pee would do any damage at all. Then prolong this a little bit so I can search for the hidden item. Let's say it's somewhere in this area. I wonder if there's a way I can find that out. I'm not sure if this is the perspective. That is, because you can rotate the camera, so I'm not sure what orientation these instructions are from. There's no compass in this, Dean. Am I muted? No, I am not muted. Is that worse for Yuji's time to fight these? I was not speaking. I was looking up how to find this weapon. I should have attacked there. I do not believe so. But live 2D tracking is not perfect. So sometimes things will detect movement that does not exist. Like were I to move my hand in front of my mouth, the tracking would have no idea what just happened, and it would result in some sort of random movement of something. Right. Now you decide to rejoin the battle. I didn't want it to be sheer. Apparently not. I cannot find this item. Okay, here we go. And this one actually has pictures. Of course, if I click the picture that they had to enlarge it, it just gives me an error message. One if it's Steam. Looks like it is supposed to be right here. There he is. So this, I believe, is the best weapon in the game, potentially. There's 99 accuracy and 99 attack power. This would be like a special secret thing that you had to find that's hidden. Which essentially breaks the game if you use it. I may not actually use it depending on how difficult their maps are on this difficulty, but I just wanted to get it to show that off, mainly. Done no skill. Let's see if I can let Pee-wee get the kill just because that'd be interesting, to say the least. All he has to do is 3 HP worth of damage to the body and not hit the legs. This may take a few turns. Especially if he misses. Whenever my units have acid on. To show their items. Flash might work as well. So I assume if he's flashed, you will not be able to dodge, but I do not know if that is actually the case. Okay, that did work. Very hard to level up that unit. Yes, he was. But not for Nefari's purposes. I mean, lying probably will not help your case. They were not? Interesting. The spirit of Huffman is just OCU members. He did say he used to be part of OCU. This is actually when we start getting into the meat of a plot of the game. This is a pretty big story reveal. I'm more impressed by his brown beard but blonde hair. Perhaps he bleaches his hair. Stay here first. Fondness. I wonder who he could want Roy to meet. Does anyone have any guesses? It's not as though anyone would have guessed the answer anyway. Though I was wondering if someone was going to say something outlandish, like perhaps he brought Karen here. That would be quite the surprise, would it not? I'm sure you have. Interesting. Discrow doing what Cicada Industries wants. Doesn't that make things very suspicious? Because as you recall, Discrow was a key figure for the Emmy army that started a lot of this business and is the one who attacked Karen to begin this game. So he set up as someone that was a major antagonist. And yet he seems to be buddy-buddy with this brother of Ryuji. Makes you wonder some things. You may die need to set up anything. Back in the same location we just left, for some reason. I guess we can make it all the way to the hospital. So do you. Does he not remember? Okay, now he seems to throw strange. I'm not sure why Roy would ask Ryuji if he knows him, considering Ryuji was there when Karen died. Well, supposedly died. When she was attacked. But we know there's been sneaky business the entire time. Even Olsen was having a very suspicious conversation early on in the game. They have more slots than that way used this time. And that's not good. If I only have 10 good units. So adding a 11th unit would not serve me very well. It says the main antagonist gets introduced early, but not revealed as being the main antagonist until later. Common trope. Well, there is no saying for certain who the main antagonist is yet. But the way the game presented itself from the very beginning, the introductionary map, the prologue, you would say, it made it seem like Discrow was the main antagonist. Whether or not that remains to be the case, you'll have to wait to find out. But the game did present Discrow as the first... He's basically the first antagonist you see. He continued to pop up here and there throughout the story as the one leading the forces against you. But now he is fighting alongside you as an ally. Pretty balanced in his stats. It's like he's trying to hybrid melee in short. You know he has long skill, he has no long range armament right now. One could just let him do all the work. Although he would not be able to clear out all of these units himself. He's pretty good, but not that good. No idea where he is going. Apparently he does not want to help. That to hit about a minute or so. Did nothing. This map will definitely take a while because their supply truck. They will keep running back to it. It's stunned. They can't even move to flee. Which likely means he's gonna end up being destroyed. I do not think a unit can wake up unless they are in battle, and any battle will probably finish them off. That did way more damage than I was anticipating. Felt that I would get rid of that unit so that I could escape. Start duel. One of these has to kill this thing. There we go. That's foolish. There we rather than waste an L, let's have her wait. Can this go fish the last one? No, he cannot. Well, he might do it if he counterattack. Not quite. Interesting. Or it is blinded by his rage. If he could have confronted him when they were at war, he might have been able to do what he wanted to do, or at least attempt it. Then since they're not warring factions technically, he's not allowed to do that. So those are cheap battles. And about half are left, but that's not enough to fight another battle. Supposed to be see what the next story element is. Fake intel. In fact, there's 13 actual units and a couple supply trucks, which 2 supply trucks will drag out even further than 1 would. So that's probably gonna be an hour-long battle right there. I get to deploy 11 units again, I believe. I sort of do mind. You actually became one of my best attackers toward the end there. And took practically no damage from anything. Okay, that's gonna make things a lot more difficult. we can now have one less unit, as we're already pushing it with 11 from the normal crop. Now I had to bring in 2 more units that I do not normally use, which means I would have spent a lot of time in the arena grinding up 2 units to be somewhat capable of filling those last 2 spots there. Because this guy did not do anything but almost die, so he needs a lot more experience. And then from the rest of them, I might have to take... I want to take a melee unit. But I really don't have much other options here. These 2 units are pretty poor. They're actually all bad. Pretty much everyone I'm not already using is pretty bad. Which is why I have not been using these ones. I might have to take some time, which I do have a lot of time since I have 2 weeks before I can play this again. So I guess it's plenty of time to try to get something on par with the rest of my units so that they will not hold me back in the upcoming mission. But for now, in New City, that means the shop should be the same. Which is unfortunate, because I really cannot buy anything new. To upgrade in Inferno. Just some endgame stuff. The tenor for this to happen this stream in. That is true. I did not remember that he left right there. I might be forced to use Molly. And do something stupid like give her this overpowered weapon so that she can just destroy things. Doesn't even weigh anything. This is how cheap this weapon is. Granted, it's only a single hit, so it's not as good as most of the multi-hit weapons are going to be. Possibly. I can test that theory out. Let me see how well that weapon does in the arena. Maybe something with really poor odds. So she should lose this battle based on the stats. Let's see how this works. 99 accuracy helps, but I cannot aim it is the problem. So this could still fail if she gets hit in the body too much before I can get a body shot on the enemy. Okay, well, it just took 2 attacks. If I can get her the aim ability, that would go a lot better. But she could practically die in 1 hit. Not yet fast though. But once I get duel, I can guarantee that she wins every battle in 1 shot. So this actually is a really good grinding weapon as you suggested. Or as I say, I guess as you theorized. But it's better for characters who can aim where to hit. So I can force aim for the body if they're too weak to win the fight normally. And once they become strong enough to actually tank a hit, then I can systematically aim for every other body part first, so I can get maximum experience. She could probably buy better parts for her, and that might help. This is another way to do it. Just want to see how long it takes till we get the first short skill. Like I said, that was the weapon to attack with, so the second free attack. Still no option to acquire a skill here. Somewhat disappointing. Make a lot of money doing this too. There it is. So now I can do something. Let's see how well this works. This is kind of risky. I'm about to do. They need to do that as well. And then we can go for the body. That's the most experience I can get without defeating every single part, which is hard to do when you are doing a single attack. The way to get maximum experience is you'd have to somehow spread it out so that you don't take out all the body parts, or both arms, essentially, and somehow destroy the last arm and the body in the same exact attack, which is somewhat difficult to arrange. But yeah, that does seem to be my strategy. So I will employ it in the meantime. Thank you for the follow, Cotton Toad. I am unfortunately about to wrap up this evening's stream. But I suppose now you'll know when there's another stream. So that will be all for this year for me. However, the other members will still be streaming. On Saturday, Shui will be playing Tactics Ogre Reborn. On Sunday, Deirdre will be playing Story of Seasons, Grand Bazaar, the remake of that. And then next Tuesday, Cersei will be playing Persona Q. Of course, next Thursday is Christmas, so I will not be here. But the others will be on their days as normal. And I will see you again in January. Let's see if anyone's on to raid. I somewhat doubt it. I don't recall. Let's see. I can recall seeing Dizzle streaming this evening, which is usually the main option. Him or Mako, but neither one of them seem to be on right now. But I suppose no raid this time. And I will see you again in 2026.